Hi, hello, welcome or welcome back. I hope you're doing well. I want to start off this video by giving a shout out to Desiree8395 who let me know on my last I'm the A-hole video that they love them. So thank you so much for that. I do sometimes wonder what people think of these videos because I know they're not for everyone. So I really appreciate the positive feedback there. So we're looking at Am I the Asshole again today, and what I've done is to just click on a few posts that from the title sound like they might be interesting, and I scrolled through them to make sure that they're hopefully not going to be too long. So hopefully we get some good things to react to here. Looking at the first one, am I the asshole for telling my cousin the only reason she's made it this far is because everyone else has carried her? So OP is a 24-year-old female who says, I have a cousin who is a 27-year-old female who's a single mum with a 3-year-old daughter. We both have fibromyalgia, except she gets disability for it and has never worked a day in her life. I have not tried to apply for disability as I want to work until I can't. She won't even work an office desk job and plays up her disability to anyone who will listen. She also has government housing and discounted utility bills. She uses WIC and EBT. I don't know what those are, but I'm guessing they're sort of like benefit schemes. I have seen her do very physical tasks, so I know if she wanted to, she could. I was talking to her the other day about how I couldn't help her with her light bill this time because I was running dry on my own money, and she got upset saying, I don't understand how you work so much but never have any money. I'm able to afford rent and food and I have a child, but you don't even have a child, so where is your money going? I think you're just overspending. If I'm able to make it work, you should be too. This is very interesting so far. So I blew up on her and told her the only reason you're able to make it work is because everyone carries your ass. You're on government assistance for everything, you're capable of working but won't, and you have me and other people in the family pay bills for you that you can't afford. How many times have I paid your phone bill, your electric, how about water, or putting gas in your car? You do practically nothing to improve your life, you just bitch about money until someone gives in and gives it to you. She got angry and said she was just trying to help because clearly I'm not managing my money right or I'd have enough. And I said, you're only concerned about me having enough money so I can support your lazy ass. And she told me to leave. Everyone else said I was being too harsh, but I think it was justified because how is she going to criticize me about my money when she doesn't do anything for her own money? Damn. So, you know how come in a lot of these stories, a lot of these posts, I say like, nah, you're not the asshole, other person wasn't an asshole, it was just like a misunderstanding, or it's not a big deal. I kind of think everyone is the asshole here. Let me explain. So the way it opens up, right? The way it opens up is very, very ableist. It's assuming to know about the cousin's disability. Just because you have the same condition doesn't mean that it affects you the same way. Just because you choose to work regardless of your condition doesn't mean that everybody else has to do the same. It's very ableist, which I'm not judging because internalized ableism is also a thing and it's something that I'm also trying to work through. But yeah, you can't assume to know about somebody else's life, their condition, whether or not they're able to work. And just because someone has done something very physical one day doesn't mean that they can do that every day. Okay, so that's that first of all. Then, where I have an issue with the cousin is this section here. And of course, this is just OP relaying what was said. Maybe it wasn't actually said in this way. Maybe it's just, you know, misremembering, biases being applied, defensiveness and so on. But this, I don't understand how you work so much but never have any money. I'm able to do this, blah, blah, blah. And you're not, where's all your money going? I think that's really like not cool to be then commenting on somebody else's financial situation, especially when you're only doing it because you need help with your situation, which seems to be the case here because they said, OP said that they couldn't help the cousin with their light bill because they were running low on money too, and then that's when the cousin was like, how come you can't manage your money? I can do it, why can't you? But it seems as if the only way cousin manages her money is by having other people pay her bills for her, We don't know anything about the situation regarding how much the benefits that the cousin is receiving, how much they total to. We don't know anything about OP's job and how much they get from that. We don't know anything about their expenditure, anything else about their financial situation. So equally as you shouldn't be commenting on somebody else's condition and ability to work, you also should not be commenting on somebody else's finances, especially when that situation only comes up because you're having an issue with yours and you want their help. Yeah, and what the OP said as well is quite extensive, with a lot of examples like paying your phone bill, your electric, water, putting gas in your car, etc., etc. And saying you're only concerned about me having enough so I can support your lazy ass. If OP is to be believed, then they have a point, but do they need to say it in that way? No, but I can understand how after the financial comment was made towards them, that they would sort of blow up a little bit. I think everyone is the asshole in this situation. I don't think we've had that before, but yeah, y'all need to figure some shit out amongst your damn selves. Anyway, next one. Am I the asshole for shutting down a girl's attempt to diagnose me with an eating disorder? Probably not, because this is again talking about someone else's condition, right? So OP says, I lost my left leg when I was very young from a hospital-acquired infection. I have a prosthetic leg which I use for walking and another one for running and exercise. When I was on my parents' health insurance growing up, I got refitted regularly as I grew up, which makes sense. Now I'm too old to be on my parents' insurance, and while my company's insurance is considered very good, getting a new leg or getting adjustments for body weight changes are still expensive. I expect to be paying a fortune if I get pregnant, so I try my best to stay the same weight, and if I gain some weight, I can immediately feel it becoming less comfortable to walk. Anyway, a friend's girlfriend and I were talking, and she began remarking on how I'm not eating much. We were out to dinner, and I was just having a soup and salad, and everyone else was having baby back ribs. I'd stolen a few off my boyfriend's plate, but generally I was trying to eat light. I said I was trying to lose a few pounds, and she immediately assured me I was beautiful the way I was. Just because you want to lose weight or just because you're overweight doesn't mean you're not beautiful, but whatever. The way I was, and I didn't need to lose weight. I told her I know I am, but losing weight helps with my mobility. She began diagnosing me with an eating disorder, saying I must have a delusion, I was very heavy and having issues walking. I was pissed, and she sounded super condescending and blurted out she had no business talking down to me about my weight, even if it was to tell me not to change it. The other people overheard, and the girlfriend got really embarrassed and left with my friend soon after. My boyfriend thinks I should have explained why I need to keep my weight the same, but I don't think I should have to pull out my disability to get her to shut up. Yeah, you don't have to justify yourself. With long, loose pants, it's often hard to tell I have a prosthetic leg. I don't know if she knew that, but I didn't feel like justifying why my weight needed to stay the same. But am I the asshole for shutting down her attempts to diagnose me with an eating disorder? Absolutely not. That's none of anybody's business. Like, that's so inappropriate to do that. Like, I mean, it would be very different if it was like someone who was close to you who had noticed troubling behaviours and wanted to have a talk with you and say, hey, is there something going on? Do I need to be worried about you? But it's completely another thing when like the girlfriend of somebody else just decides to start telling everyone at dinner about how you've got some eating disorder and how you're delusional about your weight and all that kind of stuff. Like, that is not a compliment. That's not appropriate in any way at all. I completely agree with OP. They shouldn't have to justify why they're eating the way that they're eating. It's nobody else's business. Like, no one has the right to know that information. This bothers me a lot. I don't think OP is the asshole in the slightest, and I think the boyfriend is wrong. She didn't need to explain anything about why she wants to keep her weight the same. It's none of anybody else's fucking business. Not the asshole. Next. Am I the asshole for saying that I'm not available as a babysitter for my grandson and that my daughter will have to pay daycare expenses? You mean to pay you or to pay a daycare? So OP says, my daughter is a 26-year-old female who was abandoned by her husband when my grandson was 3 months old. Since she couldn't support herself, I let her move into my house. I'm a 56-year-old female, have a hectic routine where I do many things like work, gym, etc. until 5 p.m, and from 6 to 8 I stay with my grandson until my daughter arrives. Currently, to help my daughter, I pay the expenses at home and she pays for daycare and the baby's things, like diapers, formula, etc. And there's still plenty left for her to save up to eventually move. I decided that I would take a month off next month to rest without necessarily travelling. When my daughter found out about the vacation, she talked about the possibility of saving money on daycare to save up to move since I could stay with my grandson. I immediately said no, as it's my rest and taking care of a child for 5 or 6 hours plus 2 hours at night is not in my plans. But that I could help in the morning so that she can rest, but the afternoon was out of the question. My grandson stays in daycare in the afternoon. She started crying, saying that she was trying to gain independence and eventually move out, but that being a single mother was so hard and I wasn't making it easier. Basically, she begged me to at least stay another 3 hours, but I stuck to what I said. I really want to rest, and a 14-month-old baby who's walking and curious, I won't get that. Who is walking and curious, I know I won't get that rest, but I can't help but feel guilty about my daughter's situation. I love my grandson, but it is also my rest. Am I the asshole? No, I don't think so. I think even like offering to look after the grandson in the morning is already doing more, so that the daughter can have a rest. Like, it's not a rest to be taking care of a child essentially full time, right? Because it's like from the morning until 8 p.m. when the baby's probably going to be asleep anyway. Like, no, you're not being an asshole. It's totally reasonable to say I actually want to rest. This whole crying thing, like, I know everybody reacts differently and maybe, she's got things going on, but you can't throw a fit just because someone says no to you, you know what I mean? And maybe that's a bit strong. Maybe she didn't throw a fit. Maybe it's not as bad as what I'm imagining here. Maybe it's just, a little tear or whatever. But it's like, yeah, if you're trying to gain independence, you're still relying on your mum to look after your kid for you, like, that's kind of counter to what you're saying here. Like, I get it, like, you want to save money and this is a way to do it, but they're all, like, the OP is already paying for all the other bills and expenses, so do you know what I mean? Like, you can't be take all the time. You need to do some things for yourself, or else, like, you're never going to be able to do it, right? If you never practice it, if you never try, you're always going to be struggling. And of course, yes, being a single mother is hard. Being abandoned by your baby daddy is fucking bullshit. It is difficult, but I think OP is being totally reasonable here. What do y'all think? Next one. Am I the asshole for demanding my cousin reimburse me for her kids? What, like a transaction of paying for a child? So OP is a 24-year-old male and says, I am a Dragon Ball fan. It's something I've loved since I was a child, and I bought some merchandise over the years. Basically, I had a shelf in my room with some figures, some sets of Dragon Balls, and a Goku drawing I worked really hard on. My cousin is a 33-year-old female and comes over unannounced to date with her 3 kids, a 15-year-old male, 6-year-old female, and a 14-year-old female. Now, I love my cousin and her kids. I don't mind them stopping by even when I'm not there. My cousin's been like an older sister or mother to me all my life. She told me she stopped by my place because the kids wanted to see me. I let her know I'll be back in a few minutes. I had just left to go buy some groceries. I return home, put my groceries up, and speak with her and the kids. All is going well until the 14-year-old asks me for some money. I deny her request as I don't get paid for another week and nothing as special is happening, so I'm not just out here giving money away. Yeah, that seems a bit weird. She gets infuriated and says I let her down. Yada yada, whatever. It's whatever to me, and we chill for a few hours and they leave. That was yesterday. I come home from work today and get a text from the 16-year-old saying, I'm sorry, Unc, she just said she left something there. I'm mainly relaxed since she has a habit of leaving things and I go to my room. My shelf is annihilated, everything is thrown down and broken, all the figures are missing body parts, my Dragon Balls are broken, and that drawing I spent 3 months on finishing is cut to shreds. That is some vindictive bullshit right there. And some of my hoodies and shirts are gone, my Capsule Corp hat is gone. I broke down crying and called their mum. I tell her I need her key back and tell her what her daughter did. I then let her know that she owes me about $1,500 over this, and this is me being generous. I spent well over $3,000 on this whole thing, but I needed something back for this. She tells me she'll give me the key, but I'll be seeing no money from this. I tell her it's her responsibility since they're her kids, and she also just leaves the key open and in the world when I said it's meant for her, not her whole family. She said she didn't care and I'm not getting any money and that's it. I've banned her from my house until she pays me, and she says so be it and refuses to pay me, saying it's my fault for not locking the game room door in your own house. The door doesn't even have a lock, bitch. Am I the asshole for demanding she pay me back? Honestly not. I think it would be different in two scenarios. One, it was a fucking accident. Two, it was like a 1-year-old child. But this is some vindictive fucking bullshit from a 14-year-old who by that age you should know better. And I mean, I don't know what consequences there were for this kid, like whether the cousin punished or disciplined them in any way, but like that's bullshit. Like that's such what's the word for it? It's such an intentional thing to do. You know, it's so full of spite just because like your uncle didn't give you money. That's a horrible attitude. So what I would think would be appropriate is to say, okay, you know, this is going to come out of your pocket money. You're not going to get any pocket money until your uncle gets some money back for the damage that you did. You know, I think that would be an appropriate action. But yeah, I mean, I'm not the kind of person that's okay with anybody else having my key and just coming in and out whenever they want to, personally. And if someone who had my key were to suggest that it's my fault for not locking up all of my belongings if one of their family members or their kids comes and trashes the whole place, that's fucking bullshit. Like, not the asshole at all. The cousin and the kid are assholes. That's awful. My gosh. Okay, next one. Am I the asshole for not putting my shirt on at the gym when asked to? This has poo mode activated, which I didn't know what that meant, so I had to search a little bit, but apparently it just means that only certain people can comment on it, whatever. So OP says, I don't use Reddit, but my friend suggested that I post here. I'm a transgender man who very much passes for a cisgender man 99.9% of the time. Almost a decade ago, I had a double mastectomy which gave me scars along my pec lengths. They are very much healed, but still visible. I go to a gym that allows men to exercise topless. The other day, I was working out in the outdoor area and it was so hot I took my shirt off. Edit, I should have included this in the first place, but to my knowledge, there is no rule against women being topless, but I have never seen a topless woman at this gym. Most wear sports bras. About 5 minutes in, a woman approached me and asked me to put my shirt back on. I asked why, because there were 3 other men who also had their shirts off. She responded that she knew what my scars were from and it disturbed her to see them. Fuck you. Don't look then. She said it was no different than if she took her bra off and forced everyone to see her breasts. I told her that's her problem and if she wanted to take her bra off, go for it. She said she'd report me and then glared and made disgusted faces at me for the rest of my workout, which I ended up cutting short because I felt so uncomfortable. That's a shame. I felt like I was in the right, as there's no reason why my body is a different case than the other men around me just because I have some lines on it that may suggest there used to be breasts there. But some of my female friends who are cisgender have said that I'm the asshole because putting my shirt on would have been the least I could do to make her more comfortable in a male-dominated space. Why is it your responsibility to make her comfortable when the rule in the gym is that it's allowed? It would be completely different if there was a rule saying you can't take your tops off or there was no rule at all. But there's a specific rule that it's allowed. So fuck off. Oh my god. I said she could have just moved to a different part of the gym. They said, why should she have to move? I said, why should I have to change? Exactly. They same for refusing to see it from the female perspective and she wasn't being transphobic. Bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. Now I can't tell if my outlook is too clouded by my own experience. Am I being ignorant? Should I have just put my shirt back on? Too long didn't read. I took my shirt off where it was allowed and a woman was offended by my surgery scars that show I'm trans. I refused to cover up despite her complaints. Edits some additional information. My scars are nearing 10 years old. They're not grotesque, overly discoloured, or even all that noticeable in my opinion. I'm regularly shirtless outdoors, but haven't caught anyone staring in probably 5-ish years. I don't think I can post links, but this person has pretty similar scars. Mine are probably a bit more faded. To the questions of why my gym allows people to be shirtless, this was in the weight area of a rock climbing gym. I don't know why, but shirts off seems to be a big climbing thing. Most women wear sports bras and no shirts, including the woman who confronted me. I would never use a bench or machine. There's no machines anyway. Shirtless, gross. I was outside doing deadlifts. Y'all know my opinion on this. Absolutely not the asshole. Like... So the cisgender female friends of OP said, look at it from the female's perspective. I'm assigned female at birth. I identify as woman-leaning non-binary, meaning that I don't refuse or reject the term woman, but you know, I feel like binary. I feel like gender isn't binary. It's like on a scale, you know. So, as someone who often feels threatened by men and feels hyper-vigilant towards dangerous situations, if there are 4 men in this gym that specifically allows you to go topless, why on earth would I think that I have any right to go up to one of 4 men and tell them to put their shirt back on? If I personally feel threatened by or uncomfortable with someone being topless, 1, don't go to that fucking gym where it's a specific rule that it's allowed. 2, ask all 4 of them to put their shirts back on. Like, this is absolutely a transphobic thing. It is. Like, it's complete discrimination. So, OP's not the asshole, the woman is an asshole, and that's the end of that. Oh man, that fucking bothers me. There's one more that I clicked on, so let's see what this one is. Am I the asshole for not changing the restaurant to suit my daughter's new boyfriend? So OP is a 58-year-old female and their daughter Jennifer is a 27-year-old female and has a new boyfriend, David, who is a 30-year-old male. Last week they came to dinner. It wasn't planned in advance. They came for something else and just stayed for dinner. I cooked an Asian dish. Unknown to me at the time, David has some major food hang-ups, no allergies or special diet, just things he doesn't eat. He hadn't wanted to stay apparently. He said so early in the day, but Jen forgot. He didn't say anything when Jen asked me if they could stay. When I served the food, he looked at it like it was poison, pushed it away and said, "I'm not eating this crap," and left. Wow. Okay, I had a bias that I thought maybe OP was going to be the asshole, but that's asshole-ish behaviour from the boyfriend. He totally left, drove home without her, and without telling her he was leaving. My daughter was stunned and upset. They had a huge fight over his rude behaviour and him leaving her there. A week later they made up. He seems to have convinced her that it was her fault for staying for dinner. She knew about his food issues. Well, why didn't you just say something at the time? Jesus Christ, people forget sometimes. She felt bad for not considering his hang-ups, but told him his behaviour was not okay. He should have spoken to her about it before dinner. So now this is where I come in and might be the asshole. My birthday is coming up and my son is flying in from out of state, so I really want the whole family there. I had already chosen the restaurant I want to go to for dinner on my birthday. It's a Chinese restaurant that my family all enjoy. I'm assuming that David will not eat there since he had such a problem with my Asian food. He said rice is a big turn off for him, then just don't eat the rice. I could change, there is time, but I really don't want to. They have only been dating a couple of months, and he was very rude in my home. He hasn't apologised to me. I told Jen about my plans. She said that he probably won't come, and I asked if she would still come or if she's going to choose to stay with him. She said she would come, but I suspect he will pressure her not to come. Part of me wants to push it to show my daughter what she has in store for her future if she stays in the relationship, but the other part wants to not upset anyone. Am I the asshole if I don't change the restaurant? No. I honestly thought that it was going to be like an allergy thing or like a special dietary requirement thing or even like an ask. But in this situation, no one's asked you to change the restaurant. The person has just expressed disgust in a very rude way towards certain types of food. Fuck you for not liking rice. I mean, that was really rude behaviour. I think it would be different if it was like, oh, you know, do you want to stay for dinner? Well, what are you planning to have? Oh, actually, like, I don't eat that kind of food, but thanks so much for asking. You know, that would be totally fine. And then knowing that, maybe contact them and say, hey, we're planning to go to this restaurant. Do you want to have a look at the menu and see if there's anything that you can eat beforehand? And if not, then we'll change it. That would be reasonable in a situation where all parties were reasonable. But in this situation where basically someone has like insulted you in your own home, then stormed off and left their partner there, I would not be making special accommodations for that kind of person. Why should you? Like, it's your birthday, right? Yeah, it's your birthday. You want the family there. You don't really care if he's not there, I think. So yeah, fuck it. Don't change it. He's the asshole. You're not. All right. How was that? I feel like they were a bit better today than they were in the last one. Like, I'm glad that I scrolled through some of them just to see how long they were, because I feel like these were good lengths, but sometimes we get like super long ones. Quite interesting topics that we discussed today. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. I'm just a potato on the internet. Am I talking bullshit, or do you agree with me here? Thank you so much for watching. You can check out some of my other videos while I bang my wrist on my desk. I hope to see you in the next one, and have a nice day. Bye bye, bye bye, bye bye.